Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the series about all the different generations, talk about them, and also how they save money. Let's get right into it. Today I'm going to chat with you guys about the lost generation, which is from 1883 to 1900. Some of my grandparents were born during this time, and I met 3 of my 4 grandparents, and I will tell you one thing I noticed about them. Many of them were, even though they were nice people, they were on the stern side and stoic. So they weren't someone that laughed a whole lot. They were kind of serious, very hardworking. So I'm going to say that. My father's parents are from Austria-Hungary. My mom's mother was from Norway. My mom's father was from Switzerland. So just a little bit about them. But my father's mother was not born during the lost generation. She was a generation after that. But the others were born between 1883 and 1900. So one of the things that I will tell you about the lost generation is that they became adults during World War I. They had strict social values, and that is definitely the case of my grandparents. Definitely had strict social values, and like I mentioned, they were kind of on the stern side, kind of strict. Another thing is they lived through World War I, the Spanish flu, Roaring 20s, Depression, and some of them even lived through World War II. So, you know what? I cannot even imagine that. That would have been a really tough time. I even did some research and I thought, well, how did they save money? Well, my husband and I were talking about it. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff to buy. So it wasn't like they could just go out and spend a lot of money. They had their minds on all of these other things. World Wars, Spanish flu, and the Depression. They had other things on their mind besides going shopping. Okay. A lot of homes, the man was the main breadwinner, but it doesn't mean women weren't working, because back then you didn't have all the amenities to make life easier. So it was still a lot of work. A lot of generations back then shared homes, and that's what I'm seeing making a comeback now, for affordability, to be able to afford that. Also back then, if a grandparent was older, other people would take care of them. They weren't put into a nursing home. Now many women work, and there isn't a father or a mother to take care of some of these elder people. So that's why that many of them live in nursing homes nowadays. But back then, for the most part, that was not the case. Also, back then, some people did have electricity, but a lot of people used gas lights and candles. And the good news is health was starting to get better. There were less people that died during childbirth or died as little children. I do know that my father, and this is a little bit later on, his youngest brother passed away and as an infant, and I think it was something heart related, and one of my husband's uncles died when he was 10 from a heart related. So, still medical wasn't enough maybe advancements to keep up with many of these childhood illnesses, and people did pass away, but not as often. So health was getting better, and also, so you were less likely to die. Now, schoolwork, and I remember looking at my mom's schoolwork, and even I had some of this, but back then, during this time period, the school was very strict, and a lot of memorization, rote memorization. That's what a lot of the schoolwork was. And so it was very, very strict, and you had certain expectations. What I found interesting was this. First of all, not everybody went to school, but only 11% of people back then went to high school. Only 11%. So a lot of people just went during their elementary, but then after that, maybe they went to work to help their families and things like that. So I thought that was interesting. Now also, and I remember my father telling me this, and this is years later, you didn't get a whole bunch of toys and things like that for Christmas and birthdays. You got things you needed, such as socks, underwear, t-shirts, and his mother would sew up hand-me-downs, patch them up, make them look like new, and that was one of your gifts for Christmas or your birthday. There were some toys that came out, but very minimally, and many times people with money could afford them, such as teddy bears, little dolls. They also had toys that cost a penny, but some children didn't have any toys, and they made a toy out of sticks, or they built it themselves, or they were just so busy working and not playing a whole lot. You did play, but back then, a lot of your life was work, 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 work. And so it was kind of a tougher life. I do have a picture of my mother's father and his grandmother. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm going to use this as a thumbnail, but I love the outfit. I actually found a picture of my father. He's from the silent generation, and that picture of my father, he was basically in a dress. I mean, that's kind of what they wore. It's interesting to look at what they wore back then. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you, any of your grandparents, have they lived through the lost generation? And what do you know about the lost generation? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. That's all I have to say for now. I love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Bye.